Come te può capire chi te va bene se tu ne parli mezzo americano? Hello and welcome to LIS, Learn Italian Songs, Learn Italian with Songs. Io sono Pietro and today we are going to translate the verses of the song Tu VUO FA L'AMERICANO. This was a request by Lito 1983 who commented in my previous video dedicated to this song, to the chorus of the song, and asked me to translate the verses in order to have a better grasp of the context of the song. If you want to have a look at the other video, check out the link which I will leave here or here. Just remember that this song was written in the mid or late 1950s, so barely 10 years after the end of the Second World War, and the song was written in Neapolitan language or dialect. So we will translate from Neapolitan into Italian into English. And you will see the translation on this side of the screen. The first line goes Porti calzone con uno stemma a rete, which in standard Italian would be Porti I calzoni con uno stemma dietro. Porti I calzoni means you wear your trousers. Portare, which means to take, to bring, also to get, in this case means to wear. So you wear I calzone. Calzoni is a synonym for pantaloni, a word that you might know, and it means trousers. So you wear your trousers, porti calzone, con uno stemma, Uno stemma, in this case it could be a logo, can be a symbol. A rete, which in standard Italian would be dietro, is in the back. So this refers to denim jeans which were popularized in Italy after the Second World War, and they were the quintessential garment worn by Americans, and often they had a logo or some symbol in the back pockets. The second line goes una coppolella con visiera aizzata, which in standard Italian would be something like una coppoletta con la visiera alzata. Una coppoletta. Now you might be familiar with the traditional Italian hat, la coppola, which is very often associated with the world of mafia, but it's a very popular kind of hat in southern Italy. It's a hat with a peak or a brim just in the front part. Now, the kind of hat that they are referring to in this line of the song is not the coppola, but it's the typical baseball hat, which in this line is assimilated to the coppola. Visiera is the peak of the hat. Alzata means lifted up. So you're wearing a little hat, like a baseball hat, with the peak lifted up. Passa scampagnando per Toledo. This in standard Italian would be passa scampanando per Toledo. Passi means you go along or you stroll through, you pass or you travel along Toledo, which in this case it's not the city in Spain, but it's a famous street in Naples. Scampanando, which literally means ringing a bell, does not actually mean that the subject of the song is strolling around with a bell in his hand and ringing the bell. We could translate in modern slang, you walk through Toledo flexing or showing off. And the last line of the first verse goes Con mano guappo te fa guardà, which in standard Italian would be come un guappo per farti guardare. Guapo is another hard word to translate. I think that this has an origin in the Spanish guapo, which means beautiful or good looking, but in this case means like not a thug. I had an Irish friend who told me back home those guys, we call them spides, like a person, usually a young guy, who wants to look very confident and very strong, like he owns the place or something like that. No guapo te fa guardà per farti guardare means in order to, this per. Guardare means look at. Farti means make yourself look at, in order to have other people looking at you. Te fa guardà, farti guardare. So you're walking boldly and flexing in order to catch the attention of other people. This ends the first verse. Second one, which comes after the various choruses, goes
And if you're getting value out of this video, don't forget to put a like, subscribe to the channel so you will be notified whenever a new video like this comes out, and you will learn a ton about the Italian language through songs.
Come te può capire chi te va bene, which in standard Italian would be Come ti può capire chi ti vuol bene. Let's start from the subject. Chi ti vuol bene means he or she who loves you. Remember that in Italian we have two different kinds of I love you. We have the romantic I love you, which is ti amo, and then we have the I love you, which is reserved to members of the family or friends and does not necessarily entail a romantic relationship, which is ti voglio bene. I care for you. I am fond of you. Chi te vo bene means the person who loves you, and in this case it is a romantic kind of love. How can she who loves you understand you? Te può capi. Capi, which in standard Italian would be capire, means to understand. Può, which in standard Italian would be può. Can, te means you. How can understand you? She who loves you. Si tu le parli mezzo americano, which in standard Italian would be se tu le parli mezzo americano. And this is easier is if you say tu, le means to her, parli means talk or speak. If you talk or speak to her, mezzo means half, americano means American, so half in English.
I wonder what the authors of the song would think of today's Italian, which is full of words borrowed and butchered from the English language, and there will be a video about that shortly on the channel.
And then the last two verses of the second and last chorus are Quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna, which in Italian would be Quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna. Quando means when. Si fa l'amore is an impersonal construction, so it's when love is made. Amore is love. Si fa could be translated as is made. So when you make love, sotto luna means sotto, under, la, the luna is moon. So when you're making love under the moon, and this making love does not necessarily refer to the act of having intercourse, but it can also mean being romantically together. So when you're with your beloved under the moon, come te viene in capa e di I love you, which in standard Italian would be come ti viene in testa di dire I love you. Come ti viene in testa, capa, the head, and come ti viene in testa literally means how. Come ti viene. Viene is it comes, ti is to you, in testa, in the head. So how does it come into your head? What? The idea of. Di dire means saying I love you. How can you think about saying I love you when you're with your beloved one under the moon instead of saying ti amo? And this basically ends the song. Once again, if you want to have a complete grasp of the song with the famous chorus, check out the other video. Thank you for watching till the end. Donations are always welcome and they greatly help this channel stay alive. And I'll see you on the next of LIS Learn Italian Songs, Learn Italian with Songs. Ciao!